Crossovers are a very hot segment. 1 out of every 3 cars sold in America is an SUV or a crossover. So Mazda wants to get into the game of the sub-compact crossover. Meet the 2016 Mazda CX-3. I frequently get asked by friends and family to make recommendations about vehicles. Bottom line is that this is the car I would buy for myself, but with less than 2% market share, you're probably not likely to buy a Mazda, but you should, because there's so much passion in the engineering and design that has gone into this vehicle. You need to put it on your shopping list. Let's start with design. It all happens up front here with this signature Mazda grille. Now what they've done is give it a very vertical look both in the front and rear, and that was designed to achieve a shorter overhang, both front and rear, and mission accomplished. You have 18-inch wheels. This is the only vehicle in the segment with 18-inch wheels. You also have these fender flares that make it look even larger. As you can see, the Mazda design is specific to making the car look very much in motion even when it's standing still. You see these lines? The car standing still, kind of looks like it's in motion. And when you come back here, again, you got the same fender treatment as well, and this vertical design, and the shortest overhang in the segment as mentioned. Throughout the CX-3, you're going to see this word, Sky Active. And that's not just some made-up term. That is a series of technologies designed to make the vehicles more fun, but really more efficient. Everything from the structure to the engine, the transmission, steering, etc. So under the hood, you're going to find a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine producing 146 horsepower and 146 pound-feet of torque. And that torque can be achieved at 2,800 RPMs. And that's made it to a Sky Active 6-speed automatic transmission. When you look at the competitive set, the key competitors are the Nissan Juke and Honda HR-V, and both of those have a CVT, which is not fun to drive. This is so much fun to drive, they've even added paddle shifters. Even though the CX-3 is not a Miata, it has a lot of Miata engineering in it. They've made this extremely light, only 2,809 pounds for the front-wheel drive model, which is about 100 pounds lighter than the Honda HR-V. That results in great fuel economy, in fact, class-leading fuel economy. The front-wheel drive gets 35 on the highway, 29 in the city. The all-wheel drive, 32 on the highway, 27 in the city. What does that mean? A lot fewer trips to the pump. All CX-3 trim levels come standard with front-wheel drive, and for an additional $1,250, you can get the all-new iActive all-wheel drive system. It's a similar system to the CX-5, but it's 25% lighter. What's neat about this all-wheel drive system is that it's predictive versus reactionary. They showed us footage where this car is on an angle in some snow, and compared to the HR-V, which starts slipping and then reacts, this one is predictive. It's a really neat system. That same passion that went into designing the exterior and ride quality of the CX-3 is also found on the interior. Just take a look at the vents, for example. These are very high quality vents, a lot of detail in the vents. You see stitching throughout this vehicle. This is the type of thing you would find in maybe $30,000 cars, not $20,000 cars. You even have stitching over here in the shifter. You also have a standard 7-inch infotainment system. If your CX-3 doesn't come with navigation, you can go to the dealer, and for less than $400, it can be a dealer installed option. I love what they've done here with the gauges. The tachometer is full-size analog, and you have a small digital speedometer. That's what you would find in a Porsche. You can see that this is a true performance car, sort of, but at least it gives you the illusion that it's a performance car. While I'd like to tell you that the CX-3 is perfect, it's not. This head-up display is kind of quirky. As you can see, you get this plastic screen that pops up when you turn the car on, and it's really difficult to see the information being displayed. But I will give them credit, it's the only vehicle in the segment that even offers that option, but I think they could have executed it a little bit better. There are 3 trim levels for the all-new CX-3. Base model is a Sport, starting at $19,960 for the front-wheel drive. The Touring comes in at $21,960, and the Grand Touring at $24,990. Mazda's engineers and product planners must have been very confident about the CX-3 because they put us on some very challenging roads, and it did not disappoint. It was a little bit noisy as it was struggling to get up some of the hills, but it only has 146 horsepower, and the focus is really on fuel economy. A few other things that we noticed is that there's very little cargo room, about half of what an HRV has. So if cargo room is important to you, you may want to step up to a CX-5. It's still going to be a better option than HRV. The other thing is the cup holders are recessed pretty far back, and it really makes them kind of useless. But let's talk about driving real quick. The steering is great. The overall dynamics of the vehicle, the handling, the seats are extremely comfortable. They focused a lot on the seating position. They told us that, and guess what? They were correct. Even though we spent 4 or 5 hours in here today, we feel great, re-energized. So bottom line, great cabin, great interior, great overall package. Could use a little more cargo room in the back. As you can see, Mazda put a lot of effort into the CX-3, and the result is a wonderful subcompact crossover. Don't be surprised if you see this car in my garage. I think it just makes a lot of sense as a 5-passenger subcompact crossover because it's not only functional, it's also fun to drive. It's very engaging, which is not something you could say about the other vehicles in the segment. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on The Driver's Seat. I'm Ron Doran.